Hey, good morning everybody. This is Eric Thomas from Thomas Hills Ranch, and I got my neat little headlamp on this morning because I'm going to show you a little bit about my composting operation, part of which is a vermicomposting and hopefully soon a black soldier fly larva composting, which will all take place in my dark and dreary shed here. So a lot of the things I learned about worm composting, one of which is they do not like the sunlight. And I also did not want them getting too hot, because if they get too hot it starts to stink and it can actually kill them. So I put them in here, and I didn't want to start small. We had a small bin in Oregon when we lived there, and it was inside, it was in the kitchen, and actually did really well. It didn't stink at all. It processed the vegetable waste that we had. You couldn't put meat in there because of course it would stink. They will process it, but it stinks. This right here is a bathtub I had. We have several streams around the property, and there was a bathtub in this stream. I pulled it out because it's trash, and I was thinking of something to do with it, and finally I decided I'm just going to bring it up here and make a worm bin out of it, a giant worm bin. So what I did is I stopped up the drain with just some mesh to filter it, because you do get some worm pee basically, and you do keep it moist, so you pour water on it, and so any extra water will drain out into this bucket I have here. I guess good reason to turn on my lamp. The bucket I have here, and you can see there's quite a bit. I do keep it moist because I know it will drain. I'm not too concerned about it getting stagnant. And also around the side here, the drain tube on the side, I just put some mesh there so I wouldn't get flies in it, which in theory works, but in practice not always. So it's a really cold day today, so I'm not going to expose them too much. But you can see here it's pretty deep. I've been doing it for a while, and this is old, basically vegetable waste, leaves, goat poop. I actually went out and raked up some goat poop because sometimes they congregate in one area too much, and I don't want them, I don't want them unhealthy, so I clean up after them. I also have rabbit poop in there. Let's see, I also have some biochar in there, which I've started toying with. So really just everything under the sun you can think of except for meat, we'll throw in there. And I wanted it really thick before the winter, so they had a place to bury down. Worms do, sadly, they will come up when they can sense rain, so they sense changes in the barometer, and they're very sensitive, and so they'll come up thinking that they don't want to drown. They get on top of that rug there, and it froze real quickly, so lost a couple of them. But I started with 1,000, I think around 1,200. Worms in there, and they did great, and I just keep putting stuff on top of them. I will put, you can see here's the leaves I have. The leaves I collect from my yard. It's a great time for that, and I have an old mower, an old mulching mower. I put them, and I'll show you the bin. I put them in a bin and I mow over them to chop them up. You can see there's still some sticks in there. And the sticks aren't bad. It really just, it makes it so it doesn't get too compacted. You do want air in the bin. You want them to be able to breathe and stuff. This right here is some chicken manure that I picked up from a local chicken farm. They've got tons of them around here. So I picked up some chicken manure, and then here's some biochar. You can see this right here is a filter, or not a filter, an air compressor, which goes into the leftover worm pee. I just collect it in there because you can put it on your plants and stuff. I'm actually testing it out in one of my pastures. I put together a big sprayer to drive on my truck, and it's a big barrel. Anyway, I'm trying to spray it just to see if it'll work on a large scale operation. Here's my second bin. I got some old what are these called, stock tanks on Facebook, and a guy had 2 of them, and he had a really good deal, so I did that. I didn't worry about if they had leaks or not. He told me they didn't, but I don't care. Anyway, I wanted to try a second one out because I wanted to see if I could just straight up feed them chicken litter. This is processed, but it was still steaming, so it was still going through the compost process. I wanted to see if they would actually survive, if it would kill the worms. It did not kill the worms, so that's why I started adding it in both bins, because I figure it's great for everybody. They process the manure. This is where the black fly larva bin will be. I tried starting it up, but then the weather turned. You can see the cardboard there is for the flies to lay their their eggs in, basically. I've got some food there. I put some in there because when I said in theory that it keeps the flies out, it doesn't. And you'll see a little bit of soldier fly larvae, and I was looking at how to get rid of them because I was worried about them taking over the bin. They weren't, so I'm not too worried about it, but that's when I learned about black soldier flies, and I decided, hey, let me try this, because you can process meat in a black soldier fly larva bin. And then also what I was doing with these is initially I was just taking them out and feeding them to my chickens, and they absolutely loved it. And so now we'll go outside here and check out the regular bin. And you can see my bunnies here. They just got some treats this morning because I processed some of our old vegetables and stuff. But I'll scrape up their manure every once in a while and add it to the bin. Sorry if the wind is too much. I'll try to get out of it here. So here are my 3 bins. As you can see, the chickens love them. The one they're in right now is actually the leaf bin. This is where I rake up my leaves, and I'll put them in here. I'll fill up the bin, and then when you take a mower to it, I've also used my weed whacker on it just to chop them down. And really all I'm trying to do is speed up the composting process. This is my active bin where I mix everything, and this is some chicken manure, more chicken manure. I got a full truckload, so I've got plenty of it to go around. Let's see, so when I get the vegetables and stuff, I'll put them in my wheelbarrow here, and I take my machete and I will literally just chop them up into small pieces. I'm looking for some pieces that are around. All the corn cobs, they go to the chickens and they process them, but I will chop them up too, because we had a bin, let me get out of the wind here, we had a bin in North Dakota set up just like this, and what I noticed was things that were large, like, well, even bananas, things with a peel, things with a rind, they don't process as quickly. Sorry, I'm still trying to get out of the wind. It's a cool day today. Come to my shed. So what I noticed is they stuck around for quite a while. So even though I was rotating the bins and I was mixing them, so we would go from one bin to the next to turn the compost, and I would do that every week. And I was still finding that lemons would last quite a while, oranges would last quite a while. I know there is some concern about the acidity and stuff like that. You certainly don't want to put oranges and hot peppers in the worm bins because they don't like them. Black fly larvae, I hear, will actually process those, so no worries. But again, I wanted it to do as quickly as possible because we don't have great soil here, and our garden last year really didn't do well. And so I wanted to improve the soil, and so I wanted to get it done real quickly. And as a lot of you know who do composting, it is not a quick process sometimes. I know you can see a lot of videos on how people speed it up. This is just what I do, and so I like to share ideas that I do that are working for me. I've noticed it does process things, even those lemon rinds. Once you chop them up, it processes them very, very quickly. And by chopping them up, all you're doing is you're increasing the surface area of those vegetables, and so you allow the microbes and all that kind of stuff, all those composting organisms, to actually process them quicker. What I also do, since it's a high in nitrogen, I will also mix those leaves. That's why the leaf bin is next to it, so that's a lot of dry material. So I will mix that with them, but I also throw some of that chicken manure in too, and so I'm really just mixing it up, getting that composting processing going first. And what I've noticed is it is a very quick process, and it's a hot pile. Every time I turn it, on warm days or on cool days, you can see the steam coming off the center of that pile. I won't turn it now because, again, it's real cold. I don't like doing it too often. I just did turn it yesterday, and I threw some more compost on it today. But again, that's why I'm mixing in all those, the chicken litter and the leaves, is to get that process going. Come Saturday, I'll pull it out, I'll turn it again, I'll throw some more in with it and mix it in. And again, what I found is everything is composting down. The only things I've seen last a little longer, one are the things that are on the side, but that's why you turn it. The side of the pile doesn't get as hot, so it doesn't compost as quickly, but that's why you turn it. But also coffee filters. And so I'm real careful when I throw a coffee filter in that wheelbarrow to chop up. I'm real careful to chop it up as much as I can, just to get I know it doesn't increase the surface area that much, but I figure any breakdown you can do prior to composting will help. So anyway, I hope this video is educational. I hope you find it interesting. And I am not a YouTube personality, so I don't care if you like or subscribe. Do it if you like. So anyway, have a good day and God bless.